Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics coming at you again. Alright, so we are back for round 2 of the fish room tour. Again, when you got 84 tanks, it takes a while to get through all of them, and I want you guys to be able to enjoy each and every tank. So let's go ahead and let's get into it so we can get through as many tanks as we possibly can in number 2. Alright, so let's start up here with this 40-gallon breeder. This is actually one of my favorite tanks now. There's a lot that's going on in this tank. So let's first start off before he goes away. This is a Sunshine Pleco, a pretty small one. This guy is one of my most personable fish that I have. You know, so many Plecostomus stay hidden all the time, but this guy loves to come out, especially right after I feed, and man, I just love him. Also in here we've got quite a few albino bristlenose. These guys are bred with some super reds, so they've got kind of a brightish orange, kind of red kind of glow to them. I've got some bigger adults in here, but I've yet to get the bristlenose to breed in this tank. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. There are also quite a few Starabi Corys. The majority of the Corys that you see in here are ones that I raised up from eggs. These guys used to breed absolutely all the time, and again, another tank I haven't seen them breed in a long time. But then again, the problem is there's a lot of fish in here that will eat the eggs, so they could have, and I just may have never seen it. I think this is the last neon that I have. Guys, I think he's about 2 years old or so, but he's the last remaining survivor. I've also got a couple of Harlequin Rasboras, and pretty much everything else in here is an abundance of Endlers. I've got quite a few Endlers now, and I don't know, I'm just bored with them. I'm ready to move out of Endlers, but the problem with moving out of Endlers means you have to catch them, and they are the fastest fish I've ever gone after in my life. You would think that since they're from the same family as the guppy that they would be easy to catch like a guppy would be, but no, they're not. They're like lightning. Also, you'll see in here there are a bunch of shrimp. This is another tank where I just put 5 or 10 cherries in here, and they've just exploded into hundreds of multicolor shrimp. Alright, let's go ahead and let's move down below. If you guys are enjoying this video and you would love to see more fish room tours, more fish store tours, and a bunch of cool DIY projects in my amazing fish room, be sure and hit that subscribe button right now. We've got another 40-gallon breeder. Again, one of my other favorite fish while he's out. This is a Plecostomus. This is another guy that's just absolutely just beautiful. Also in here there are quite a few calico bristlenose. These guys have bred a few times, but I haven't seen any out of them in a while. As far as Corys, these are all Schwartzky Corys that are in here, except for I've got one Julii, and I forgot the story of how he ended up in here, but I've never moved him. So there's probably 8 or 10 of those guys. I've got 2 or 3 Bosemani rainbows, as you can see right there. Let's see, what else do I have in here? I've got 5 or 6 Amazon puffers. Guys are a little bit skittish, so they're kind of constantly on the run. Also, there are some more Endlers in here. I got Endlers in quite a few tanks. And then I've got these barbs. The story with these barbs is I never bought these. I just looked in one of my 10-gallon tanks one time that I had guppies in, and all of a sudden I have 2 of these barbs, and they were tiny at the time, so I'm assuming when I got them they must have came in eggs, and I guess hatched out and survived, and now I only see one right now, but there's two. One must be a male, one must be a female, because they're definitely different color patterns. There's also a tiger Plecostomus in here, an L002, but he is one that stays hidden almost all the time. He's usually hiding out underneath that tree. All right, so let's move over here beside this 40-gallon to my 20-gallon highs. This is a breeding pair of black angels. I've actually got 2 sets of breeding pairs. These guys lay eggs about every 14 days. So I'm just absolutely constantly raising fry. I've been so busy at work lately though that I've stopped pulling eggs because I just don't have time. These things have got to be fed about 4 times a day, the fry do, to keep them alive with hatching out brine shrimp, and I just have not had time whatsoever. All right, next 20-gallon high. This is a tank full of Guppies. These are the split tail version of the Guppies. If you'll look, the males are the ones that have the yellow and black stripe on their back fin. And some of these right here, these are babies that are only probably a few weeks old. These are some fish that I just mercy bid for like $2 for like 5 of them at the auction, and these are live bearers. They're also on the CARES list, so they're semi-endangered. Where they come from, I think, has been almost completely destroyed. Almost every Goodyead is in that same problem. I don't know. This is kind of another fish that I'm kind of getting tired of and ready for something a little bit different. Also, there's 2 or 3 starlight Plecos. There's one kind of hiding over there in the corner. And this has also got some Corys in it too. These are Adolphi Corys. And right now I don't see them around. There's usually a couple of them up front. These are, to me, are some of the more beautiful Corys that there are. All right, next tank, another 20-gallon high. This tank is kind of in disarray right now because I don't really know exactly what I'm doing with it. This is the one that I showed you in a previous video where I raised this, and you could see that there was a whole giant plant above water and just a hideous, ugly bunch of roots down at the bottom. And so right now in here, there's a bunch of peppered Corydoras, and there's also some tiger loaches. That's pretty much all that's in here. I'm probably going to change this tank up, maybe tear it down and move these fish and completely redo it, do some different substrate in it. Because, I don't know, this tank to me has just always been just ugly. And it doesn't really seem to know exactly where it's going. All right, here we go with another 40-gallon breeder. This tank has got a lot going on in it. We've got some really big black neons, probably 8 or 10 of those guys that are in here. We have 5 or 6 triple red cockatoides. Here's one of the beautiful males right here. Again, I think I talked about before that I cannot get any of my pistos to breed. I've got about 6 different types, and I just can't get them to breed at all. When I very first put 2 or 3 females in here, like there's one of the females right there, that big male was doing the dance and everything with it, and I thought it was finally happening, and I never saw anything. Even in the tanks where I have them where they're species only, I still can't get anything really going on. Also, we've got 5 or 6 hillstream loaches. These are actually some of the first fish that I bought, so I've had these guys about 3 years now. There's a few stray guppies in here. Every guppy that I put in here is basically a guppy where I lost its mates, so I end up just throwing it in here. There's another blue one in here somewhere. I don't know where the heck he is. All right, so Corydoras. We got Mateys in here. There's probably about a dozen Mateys. There's probably about a dozen orange lasers. Here's one right up front. A lot of times when I film, it always seems like the orange lasers don't want to be filmed. But I fed pretty heavily, so they all kind of seem to be out right now. As far as Plecos in here, there's a snowball in here, but I haven't seen him in a while. So I don't know if he died or not. He stays hidden quite a bit, so you never know. And then there's also 3 or 4 leopard plecos. They may be back there in the cave. You get to usually when I feed, I get to see them. They're L006s. Oh, there's one right about there, kind of hiding behind the tree. See if I can zoom in on him a little bit. There we go. So I actually got him. And then I've also got one black angelfish back here. All right, let's go ahead and move up to the next tank. Again, we have another 40-gallon breeder. This is another tank that I actually tore down and redid, and I still don't like it. Of course, we've got this moss going on all over this thing that I just don't like whatsoever. But right now it is what it is. We've got some South American cichlids that are in here. These are curviceps. These are ones I haven't had very long. These guys are kind of like apistos. They're very mild. They don't ever seem to mess with any of the other fish at all. Also, we have in here, we've got some cribenzas. There are 5 or 6 cribenzas in here. They seem to be hanging out in this pot quite a bit. So, again, I haven't had them in a long time, but I'm hoping these guys will get to breeding. They're just beautiful, beautiful fish. And also, I've got rust cories in here. There's probably about a dozen of these rust cories. Those guys are doing good. I don't have any plecostomus in here. This is one of the fewer tanks that I don't have at least some type of plecostomus. And then at the top up here, you'll see, sorry, there's algae and stuff that's in the way. These black angels, if you guys remember me telling you before, these are the first 2 babies that I was actually able to grow up to adults. Well, they're kind of sub-adults. But so those 2 guys are kind of special to me because of the amount of babies that I killed in the process, which is a very, very large number that I'd rather not talk about. All right, let's go ahead and move up to the next tank. Okay, this one is another 40-gallon breeder. As you guys can see, I've fallen in love with 40-gallon breeders because they just allow you to have so many different types of fish, and they allow you to kind of aquascape it a little bit, as little as Jason knows how to aquascape and throw some plants in there. I just kind of like the final product of how a lot of them end up looking. Okay, first of all, we got a bunch of albino cories. We've also got an emperor pleco, or as some people call a flash pleco. Guy's really, really beautiful. I got some more black angels. I think these guys are both males. Everybody else that I had all paired off, and these are the last 2 that are left. These have seemed to be 2 of the meaner ones. We've also got some green laser cories right here. 5 or 6 of those guys. We've also got some longfin bristlenose. These guys just have huge, long fins. Just beautiful. We've also got some schooling tetras back there, and I always forget what those are called, lemon something or another like that. You'll see at the bottom of my tanks I have these names on here so I can remember because I have so many. But whenever it's a newer fish, I haven't made them yet. I had some Hongsloy epistogrammas in here, and I don't see them anymore, or I haven't seen them in a while. So I'm assuming I must have lost those guys. All right, here we go. Another 40-gallon breeder. These guys are Colombian red tetras. This is actually a tank I actually took some time and I actually tried to aquascape it. I used some ideas that I learned from some other people's tanks that I had looked at. But a lot of the plants have been knocked off and now are floating at the top. And I don't know, it's too much work to sit there and go through and fix all these plants sometimes. So this is what ends up happening. They get to the top and they start growing like nuts at the top, and they're 15 feet long anacris now. Also, there are some gouramis in here, some 3-spot gouramis. These are ones that I originally bought for one purpose, and that was to eat the leeches that were in my snail tank, and they just absolutely devoured them. And so now this is their final home in here with the Colombian red tetras. All right, so we still have quite a few tanks to go. We will pick that up in part 3. You guys got any comments or questions, be sure and leave it down below. So thanks guys so much, and God bless.